it's Hudson. It's the Worst of the Riot podcast. And are you in store for a treat today? Let me tell you, not only do you have a podcast coming your way, but you also have the Riot's live anniversary event on their Facebook page. So if you're hearing this before 9 p.m. Eastern on a Wednesday, February 26th, make sure you are a part of that live event. And if you're hearing this afterwards, go check out that event, because the archive, it won't be live at that moment, but you'll be able to watch it as it happened live on their Facebook page and on their Riot YouTube channel. There is some talk of the anniversary event in the day's podcast. You're also going to find possibilities of what is going to happen to the Olympics with the coronavirus. Obadiah brings up nail art that reminds you of Little Debbie's. I guess it makes sense to him. And so much more in today's podcast, so enjoy.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the Worst of the Riot on RadioU.
Last night I didn't have a lot of time, but I did remember to go home and check out the whole Netflix top 10 thing.
Oh, I saw that on one.
Yeah, so
I wondered.
Here's the deal. Netflix announced, I think it was yesterday, it might have even been the day before, they're like, hey, they were going to start pushing out a new category. And that new category was every single day they were going to have a top 10. Mm-hmm. So these would be the top 10 things that were being streamed in the United States that day.
Because I was watching something, I think it was on Sunday, and it had... in the United States, it gave its number on the top 10 list.
Mm-hmm. And so last night I was like, I just want to go and see, like, what's in the top 10 list? What is it? And
because normally they don't say. They don't tell a lot of people, like, what is actually doing well.
They don't. And it was weird. I'm trying to find it now, but like logging in through the web, I don't see the actual.
Is it on the app, or
maybe it's only on the app because it's not here on the web login? But man, it was all stuff that I don't watch, and I mean,
it's good to confirm that you're not watching the popular stuff.
Well, and it was tons of stuff where I was just like, I didn't even know this was on Netflix. Like, what is this? And it was odd, but it's always nice to know. I feel like. That you're just not remotely mainstream, but not in a way that made me feel like cool or important. Instead, it just made me feel like, oh.
So they'll have the overall top 10 list on Netflix, but you'll also be able to see the top 10 popular like TV series and top 10 films when you click on the movies and shows TV tabs.
Okay, well, I couldn't find that.
So you'll see it like with the tab on top.
So like what I found last night, which, I'm still not seeing this. I'm in the iTunes app or the iOS app, and I don't see the top 10 list. I definitely saw it last night when I logged in on my TV. Maybe it did so well
that they're like, "Oh, pull it." He's going to be looking for it this morning.
And like some of these are even tagged as like, "Hey, this is in the top 10. This is in the top 10." So like, here's The Foreigner, which is that movie with Jackie Chan.
Ooh, that's a good movie.
That actually is a good movie. It's him and Pierce Brosnan. Mm-hmm. That's a good movie. And then The Last Thing He Wanted, also in the top 10. But again, I'm not getting the list here. I don't know. I got it on my TV. Oh, here it is. I got it. All right. Right now, The Last Thing He Wanted is 1. A Haunted House is 2. That is that old, like, parody movie from like a million years ago.
Why
that is
is
the
it number
2 watch thing on Netflix right now. The Foreigner's at number 3. Girl on the Third Floor is number 4. Don't know what it is. To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, number 5. A Bad Mom's Christmas.
Number 6?
Yeah. Mr. Right is number 7. Uh-huh. The Other Guys is number 8.
Okay.
And that, again, that's like a 10-year-old movie with Will Ferrell and The Rock is in it, and Mark Wahlberg is in it. The Grinch is number 9.
Well, it seems like, you don't want to let Christmas go away.
And then Farmageddon is 10. Those are the top 10 movies in the U.S. today.
And now they're showing it.
I'm not watching any of these.
Well, it's all right. It's just fun to see.
No, I think it's fantastic. Like, it's weird, but I'm just like, I can't wait to see, like, I just want to know what other people are watching.
We love a good top 10 list. All right.
We do.
Doesn't matter what it's with. We just love a good top list.
Well, and I'm fascinated by, like, Are you like, what are you guys watching? Like, what is it? That's something that just interests me about people in general is, you know what people do during the day, but I'd love to know, like, hey, at night when like nobody else is watching, like, what are you doing? Are you reading a book?
They're watching Farmageddon.
Are you watching Farmageddon? What are you doing?
And if you are, don't feel bad because a good portion of everybody else is watching it too.
Yeah. Well, you're right in the meaty part of the curve. The Devil Wears Prada.
So you can watch, you can see the movie list and then the shows list.
Yeah, and as I said, I couldn't find it on the web, but in the apps, it seems like that's where it is, at least for now.
Maybe the Riot would sound better if they spent less time improving their lives at their gym. That was sarcasm. It's the Riot on Radio U.
I don't know about you guys, but in the middle of the night last night, I was just kind of rolling over, and I was like, whatever happened to Nikki's other nose ring?
Oh, I never went and got it done.
You were like, I'm getting another nose ring.
I want to go with someone, but Eric wasn't interested at that time, so it lost steam. But you never know when it might just happen.
You know what? We should, tonight for the show, let's see if we can get somebody in here to do a piercing.
Actually,
or what if we just got, all right, what if we got a needle and an
ice
thing
cube?
of ice cube, an ice cube, and I'll just start poking you.
I don't know about that. Maybe no.
Why not?
Because it was nice that, my first nose ring from my first nose ring marriage, did not really hurt, and I want to stick with that. So I'm afraid your style might hurt more.
Whatever. I mean, like, we're going old school, Nikki. This is how, back in the day, they would do it.
Yeah, it's not even the piercing gun, which you can, buy, but you're talking.
How much?
No, you don't use that for a nose ring.
What do you use?
Well, you're not even supposed to really use a piercing gun at all. It can cause boxers and stuff have the bumps on their ears.
Cauliflower ear.
Yeah, it can cause that when you use a piercing gun. You're supposed to go to a piercing studio.
Okay, so all right, I go to a piercing studio. What do they use?
They use a needle thing.
What does it look like? It's
like
not
a needle.
Gun. So they just have a needle.
Yeah, it looks like a long needle. And they're like, okay, breathe in. Here we go. And thunk, then you're done.
Well,
just like you, right?
I can do that. I'll get a needle thing.
Can you watch a few YouTube videos first? Just please.
At home nose piercing. All right. YouTube. Home nose piercing.
I know you can do it. And I also want it to be, even with my other nose, my other nostril. And
okay. I feel like I'm going to have to watch this one. Dayra D. She's a YouTuber. She's got 643,000 views on this, piercing my nose, which, by the way, it really just looks like you're picking your nose. That's what it actually... Look, Nikki, there's so many people...
who can just do it at home. And the convenience of the studio.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's great. How to pierce your own nose. DIY. 37,000 views. Oh, God.
Is it bad?
Okay, I get it. But, when I'm looking at these people, I just want you to know, they don't... Oh, my gosh!
Is that still a no?
Oh, my gosh. Here's this video. Piercing nose at home, bad idea. There's blood everywhere.
And there's not supposed to be any blood. It really shouldn't have any of that. They must have hit something.
Here's the thing. I'm thinking we'll just go ahead and...
go to the studio? Not our studio, but a piercing studio. That's what I think.
Though I'll tell you this right now. If we wanted to do a piercing guns, they are crazy cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
yeah.
So inexpensive.
But that'd be for your ears if you want to.
You think we get a same day delivery on this?
Oh yeah, we can get a 2-hour delivery, can't we?
We can get Listen, I can get you a 2 count of self-piercing stuff, $9.99.
Tonight's our Riot show anniversary. We're going to be hosting a special live show during 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on our Facebook pages. I don't know if we need that tonight.
Check this out. The ear, nose, navel, body piercing gun with 98 studs, stainless steel, $9.59.
$9.59.
The savings.
It's a steal.
So you know what, Nikki? I'll get the gun if you pay me $25. So that's $10 for the gun and then $15 for my services.
Uh-huh.
What a savings.
Great. Well, you just put that in the cart, right?
And I'm totally going to watch some YouTube videos on it. So
this might be your new calling if you do a good enough job.
I think I could be great at it.
Yeah.
All right. Hold my hand.
Can we practice with a teddy bear or something? You come in, this bear's like
it's
one of our
skin.
RadioU bears. It's like pierced everywhere. It's like, I think you got it down.
He was helping me out there.
All right. Well, that's a maybe for tonight. Maybe we'll see what happens during the show.
Yeah, we all know what that means.
If it's louder than it has to be and way worse than it has any right to be, it must be the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Okay, Nikki, it just occurred to me something, and I'm really not trying to make a joke about it, but with the whole Olympics thing, right? Have you guys heard that they're thinking about canceling the Olympics?
They said if they would have until May to make the decision. You need 3 months to cancel it.
So, they've got a couple of months, depending on where this coronavirus thing goes. But you know what? What's our joke that we always have going up to the Olympics? That we have Olympic fever.
Oh, no.
Guess what joke can't be made
You cannot do that this time. No more.
You can't.
Nope. Okay.
Because
well, that's
Olympic
good to remember.
fever becomes this whole other thing.
Yeah, they were talking yesterday how they said they probably would not cancel it, but if they do, they really need to make the decision by May.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think. I mean, there is an element of it's a great idea. Let's get people together from all over the world and shove them in this area where they'll sweat and cough and breathe heavy and all this stuff. Nah, it's fine. And then we'll send everybody home.
Well, plus there's travel bans for a lot of places. And I don't know how that would all work if everybody tried to get there and go there, but they'd have to think about that, which is what they're starting to do.
Yeah. Well, it's an odd one. And what do you... you spent all that money, you put all that stuff. Could you just delay it a year?
That's what people don't know.
But just put it off by a year.
Because it's in Tokyo. So, do you wait? Do they push the next one who's already chosen? Does it set back everybody one time?
I don't know. You know what, Nikki? Coming up in about an hour, we're going to talk to the chair of the Olympics.
No, we're not.
To find out exactly what the situation is.
I'll say, people's safety is the number one most important thing. And I don't know how it is with different countries, but there has been known in the past to be a bit of a problem with perhaps things along the corruption line with Olympics. Not saying, but,
we're not talking about Russia. Nobody said Russia.
There's been things with people in the Olympic Committee and all that stuff. So I wonder if things do continue bad for the virus, do they still push through? Because there's a lot of money in the Olympics. Or
so much.
If it gets to a point where it is about people's safety, would they at least respect that?
Yeah. I think the only thing that I've heard so far that I don't agree with is people's safety is the most important thing.
You don't think so? Or you don't think they're worrying about that?
I think you think that. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to say that. But I don't think the people at the Olympics are like, yeah, safety's the most important.
They're not always known for thinking that all through.
I think it might be a money thing. Shh. Don't tell them I said that.
No, but that is true.
Don't tell them.
So again, until May, if you're worried about that, they have a little bit of time, but they have to really give about 3 months warning if they're not going to do it.
Wow. So no more Olympic fever jokes. Seriously, we're going to have to come up with something else. I've got Olympic excitement. Yeah,
that works. No sickness things.
Yeah, but you can't make us
no chills, no nothing.
The only morning show brave enough to say that Chicken McNuggets are part of a balanced breakfast. The Riot on Radio U.
So I have just found something that I really honestly didn't know that this existed. We have found a single-digit score on a Rotten Tomatoes movie. Well, it's single-digit score on Rotten Tomatoes for a movie.
But there's been single-digit before.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I just don't feel like I've ever encountered one.
Now you got it.
I was checking my iTunes deals of the day like I do every single morning at this time. Grandpa gets his coffee and checks his iTunes deals.
It's a schedule, and remember, you gotta have a schedule each morning.
I do it every day.
It's a habit.
It is. It totally is. And what's really funny is I look forward to it. I'm like, I can't wait to see. Maybe something good. But there's a movie here called I Still See You. It's $8, and that's $1 for every point it's scored.
I think it's funny.
Rotten Tomatoes thing.
Its price matches its score.
That's it. You're paying $1 per percent of what it's got on Rotten Tomatoes.
I hope you saw the trailer then, because he said it doesn't look very good.
Well, you know what? It's a movie that there is a time in my life when I've been like, bro, I got to see that.
Well, they're not judging it based on the trailer, though. So I believe the 8% that it gets is based on the actual movie.
The movie itself.
So it must be worse than the trailer.
The trailer was all right, I guess. I don't know.
Don't sell it like that.
Yeah, it's
going to be bad.
Oh, but just to be clear, it's not the Arjun Rampal movie from 2006 or ICU.com, also from 2006. I Can See You. Now You See Me.
What are you reading?
What are you
reading over there?
I'm searching I See You.
Don't search for it.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
Don't search for it anymore.
Why?
Just go back to your sale list and look at that,
All
okay?
I see is you. I See You.
Those are all different movies?
Yeah. Apparently, we're really caught up on this whole seeing thing. I'll be seeing you.
It's a compelling title to a movie.
Did I say I'll see you in my dreams?
Yeah, I think so.
If you could see what I see.
Get out of the category. Will you close out Rotten Tomatoes, please? Please.
There are tons of movies we have never seen.
We're not going to. We don't need to.
Come on, you're right about that.
We do not need to see any of those. If it's on sale, there's probably a good chance you don't need to see the movie.
Okay, but what about...
and I know you like looking at your list.
Detective Pikachu. That's only $9 today.
Is that on sale?
Little Pikachu?
Nah.
About, okay, still scrolling.
Actually, what you need to do before you buy any movie that's on sale, like a really discounted price, is you have to check because that means...
It's probably streaming for free somewhere else.
Exactly. Usually Amazon, because no one looks at Amazon for streaming.
Nikki speaks.
So double check it before you go buy it because it's probably somewhere else you can already stream it.
Hey, Nikki. I'm not going to buy it.
Thank you. I didn't think you were.
I'm not buying it.
Yeah!
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Here's a little inside life tip from old Obadiah when it comes to money. Stay on your parents' cell phone bill as long as you can.
That is some good advice.
And you know what?
Stay home, but participate and be kind and don't be rude.
That's Nikki's advice. I didn't say any of that.
And then you'll find yourself, even if you move out, able to still be on some of their stuff.
Yeah. Because I'll just tell you what, you're staying on your parents' stuff is cheaper, and sometimes they'll just pay for it. That is good. That's what you want to do. Some people call it freeloading, but you know what? Your parents are investing in your future. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
So did you get your bill or something?
No, I haven't yet, but I'll tell you what, I made a switch. I'm now a Spectrum wireless customer, which, you know what? I haven't had any complaints about it.
Good. It uses Verizon, right?
It does use Verizon, and it uses, if a business gets their internet through Spectrum, it automatically will log you into their Wi-Fi, which I thought sounded really stupid until yesterday. We went to lunch, and all of a sudden, I got moved to the front of the internet line.
You go up and spook them at the place. You're like, you're a Spectrum user, are you?
I'm logged into your internet right now.
I'm on it.
I'm priority customer right here.
Has your data been fine, your usage?
That's the part that gets me is that, and this is why I think you should stay on your parents' cell phone bill as long as humanly possible. And that is that I am checking my data, which is something that...
You never had to before.
I don't know if I've ever done it. I had to find out where I could check it, first off, and I'm looking. Because what I've done is, and man, you can just see the look people give you. They're like, oh, what are you paying for it? I'm like, well, I'm doing, it's $14 a gig. And they just get that look like, oh.
You're going to go over.
Oh, you're one of those people now, huh? One of those people that count the gigs.
What are you at? Are you over it yet?
No, I'm at 460.
Hey.
460 meg.
How much do you have left? Or time-wise?
Well, that's the part I can't find. I don't know.
When did you start your thing? It goes back till then.
I don't remember.
Okay, now that doesn't help you.
Listen, I'm sorry, okay?
I've never had to do this.
I'm sorry. I just know that...
You got to set it in your calendar and remember to check.
You're right. I do. I need to right now.
Because you didn't want to go with the unlimited one.
No, I am trying to see if I can keep it under 2 gig a month. Again, something that when you're at home, you're like, Dad, I need the $45 a month. I need the unlimited. I got to be out there watching Netflix in 1080p.
Oh, you're an influencer. You got to get out there.
I got to get out there and influence, Dad. Come on. Help me out.
Now you're counting, aren't you? It's like counting calories.
It is. It's worse.
It's worse than that.
It's worse. So I'm at 468 meg. I don't know how much time I got left on it. What if, oh my gosh, what if I could get in for under a gig? What if I could keep it under a gig? What if my cell phone bill was $14? Wow.
They don't think it's possible, which is why they set it at that.
You know what? I'm turning my mobile data off right now.
You have to go through all your apps and just turn everything off. I
pretty much did.
Your podcast is probably your biggest. Or like if you stream music, that's the two.
Nope, you don't. We're not allowed to do that anymore.
Well, you just download it before you go.
Yeah, that's right. You'll see me in the RadioU parking lot downloading podcasts. It's fine. I was just downloading a podcast.
No problem, guys.
For my trip home.
Hey, this is what you got to do now, right?
It's no big deal. Don't worry about it.
This is real life. You got to make sure you're staying under your limit.
Boy, it is real, isn't it? It's really happening, guys.
The Riot is to your ears what all those energy drinks are to your liver.
For the love of God, please stop. I can only process so much. Oh.
The Riot, RadioU.
Just as American as watching the Super Bowl is complaining about how much you don't like the halftime show. That's what you do. Like,
I think you're supposed to find something to complain about for the big event. Usually the game, the players, the commercials, or the halftime show.
So it's like, you're complaining because you don't like that band or you don't like whatever. And so, but this time around, it was, they shouldn't shake like that on the halftime show.
Oh,
Shakira and J-Lo?
Yes, those two.
Yeah. So I heard a lot of people, whining about it. But as I said, I always hear people complaining about the Super Bowl. So, didn't seem like anything new to me. But think about this. You're so mad about what happened. To me, most of us, you complain about whatever it is you're complaining about. Set the Super Bowl aside for a minute. What do? You social media it.
Yeah.
You tell your friends, I hate McDonald's. And then that snap goes away after so long, and then that's the end of that, right? It disappears from your Instagram story, and it's over. Well,
it never truly disappears, but
they say it
it's
does.
In people's hearts because you injected them with it.
But some people take their complaints next level. Some people go to the FCC.
You can actually complain
to the Federal Communications Commission about what you see.
Yeah. And that's everywhere.
According to WFAA, they're an ABC station in Texas. Through the Freedom of Information Act, they grabbed all of the complaints about the Super Bowl from the FCC. As of right now, there's 1,312 complaints that were filed.
Oh, I expected a higher number.
I did too. But remember, that's effort. You have to really write it out, or I don't know how it works.
It feels like that's even older than, your grandparents are on Facebook at this point, but maybe even the older grandparents who don't do that.
I'm going to write a letter.
Yeah, would be calling or writing a letter.
You know what? I'll just tell you. The reason I never complain about anything is it never changes things. Now, you might have some incident, whatever, but I've been contacted so many times by friends that are like, listen, we need to go back there. We need to tell them, we don't approve of this or whatever. And I'm like, bro, listen, I have been in boardrooms and I have been to meetings where you are already part of the equation. They figure out a percentage in advance of people that are not going to be happy. And if that percentage number is low enough, they don't care.
It'd be like the risk and reward. The reward of how many people would actually like it, or the risk of, how many people will complain out of that entire group.
Yeah.
And is it worth it?
They don't care. They don't. So, and I am sorry to break it to you. I'm sure you should call your senator. I'm sure it's going to make a huge difference. But
some people like to go that next step. You know, it makes them feel better.
Yeah. So, and you know, when you okay, let's say that complaining does help, and maybe it does. Maybe it does. You're a sweet kid. When you write your letter, I don't think if you include this sentence, do you guys really condone this crap? You don't
think that helps?
I'll just tell you, it's not going to
do anything. So that was the numbers for how many people complained to the FCC about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, it's
way lower than I thought.
About 1,300. Now, go back in time to, I can't remember what year it was, but the Super Bowl 38 halftime show with, was it Janet Jackson and...
Oh, that one, though. I mean, that's different.
Yes, there was a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, that, I assume. And what year was that again?
I don't know.
Was that still like Facebook stuff or...
200,000 complaints that year.
Well, that one's...
So that was one they really let them have it.
Plus, I think you get more as the years went past because they didn't have a chance to let it all out online.
Yeah. Now people are just like, I complained on Facebook, and I know...
They think that actually works the same way.
The government checks Facebook, guys. I know they do. And they heard that conversation I had. I got that Alexa thing plugged in. They know what I said.
Complaint filed.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot Podcast.
Man, I can't say this enough. I just can't. Reach out. Just reach out today. And I don't know what you're going through or what's going on, but, you know, a lot of times we think to ourselves, I suppose a better way to say it is that we lie to ourselves. Like we think, hey, I'm not important. I'm a burden to the people around me. I'm dragging them down, whatever. I think you would be surprised by the people in your life that actually do care about you. I mean, honestly, you really would. And I just say this because I know that sometimes you think that you're not worth it. And sometimes that spirals and goes so far as like, I'm going to relieve everyone of the burden of me. You know, you start thinking like, I'll just end my life and then everyone's life is going to get a whole lot better. It never works that way. It is always so much more painful for the people in your life when something like that happens, when self-harm kind of steps in. So look, I want you to do something today. Just reach out, whether it's to a teacher, somebody else in your life, somebody that you work with, something. Reach out to somebody and talk to them about what's going on in your life. Because one thing is for darn sure, a lot of the things that seem so insurmountable in the dark, once we drag them out into the light, they aren't quite as bad as we think they are.
When you talk to somebody about it?
Absolutely. And like you are not alone. And you know what? I'll say this too. It's not just people around you that care. People around you that if they knew what was going on, and they probably don't, they would stop and they would help. I want you to know that God loves you too. As far as God's concerned, you are worth it. He loves you and he wants to step in and be a part of it. So look, if you don't have a relationship with God right now, you're already not coming at it the right way. You want to have God as a part of this equation. You want his help in this. Just say, Jesus, I need that. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. I want to have a relationship with you. God, show me somebody that I can talk to today. And you can absolutely talk to him, absolutely, about anything that you want. But don't let another day go by without reaching out to find some help. There's no shame in needing some people to come alongside you and help you. There just isn't. And you know what? People like you. They care. I promise it's true.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's The Riot on RadioU.
So apparently Michelle Genovese, I may be saying her name wrong, she's going to spend 5 months in prison. See, Big Hot Pockets paid for all this.
Oh, she was the Hot Pocket lady.
She's the Hot Pocket lady in the college admissions scandal.
She's an heiress.
Yes.
That's all they keep saying.
You know, the irony of paying a bunch of money to get Hot Pockets, that this
When you eat in college.
That's it. Like, you're in college buying Hot Pockets, and then that money is then paying to get somebody into college where they'll eat Hot Pockets.
So apparently she tried to or got, I don't know the outcome of what had happened, but some of her children into colleges. So she paid $300,000, I think.
This is $100,000.
$100,000?
She paid $100,000
maybe
over,
per kid.
over 6 girls. So she had, oh my gosh.
It's a big family.
Agreeing to pay twice that amount to sneak one of her girls into USC by misrepresenting her as an elite beach volleyball player.
That's what they would do with the people. They would basically make up these fake like sports careers, and they just had to show proof that, like stage a photo or something and show that they were on some sort of team, and that's how they would get into these schools.
Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know. This lady's pretty. She's too pretty to go to prison.
Well, she's going to nice prison.
Don't we only send ugly people to prison?
No,
Isn't that a thing?
They're going to nice prison, and they only go for a certain amount of time. Not for the time that they always say.
She's not going for 5 months. Whatever. Like, she's... Can
you bring the Hot Pockets in? Like, that's your money when you get into jail.
He's like, listen,
that's your currency.
I'll give you a Hot Pocket for 2 cigarettes. I have no idea.
So she admitted to all of it.
Yeah. Well, because unlike what's-her-face, Aunt Becky from Full House, who's going to go to jail for 100 years. These people that are taking the plea agreement, they go, like, they get sentenced to 5 months. They go for 3 days.
It's like the one lady the other actress lady, and she'd already gone through. She's already done with it.
She's done, and she's out there, and her kids' lives are ruined forever, but she's fine. Whatever. Dude, you have to. That's the worst. The worst part is the kids, because it's like, wait. Let me see if I got this right. Your parents made you dress up like a beach volleyball player, a.k.a. wear a napkin, and pose for a photo.
Maybe they didn't ask about it.
And you've been pretending to be a beach volleyball player to go to college, and you didn't think that was weird? It's fine.
Better not to ask, right?
Better not to ask.
So she pled guilty, money laundering. That's kind of how they actually get them the most. Commit mail and wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering. She's ordered to pay $250,000 back, 2 years of supervised release after prison. That's her punishment. She
has to pay a fine of $250,000? Mm-hmm. Man, big Hot Pockets paying for all that. She's not.
She's got more than that. She's fine.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is she's like, here, let me get down in the change thing in my car. Here's $250,000. It's fine.
Oh, so that's the most recent bigger case with the college cheating scandal.
And she's on supervised release for 2 years. So what are they going to be like? All right, we're going to make sure that you don't try to sneak any more kids into college. Come in for a meeting. Have you been sneaking kids into college this month? No? Okay.
All right,
see you next
good.
Month.
Well, again,
make sure you leave your Hot Pockets right out there.
I believe some of these people are perhaps treated a tiny bit different than the average person going in and being supervised.
Their prison life is going to be better than your day-to-day life. You understand that, right?
Again, they're going to the nicer prison.
They're going to a nicer prison.
We've never seen a movie. We only see TV shows and movies based on the other types of prisons.
It's not Oz, okay?
They're going over there.
It's not The Shank. Like, they're going to go in and they're just going to be like, oh, it's so hard to. It's like, do I want to go to the library or the spa first today? I just can't decide.
It probably is bigger than the place you live in. Nicer accommodations.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have more people around you. They make your food. You could probably get to keep your phone.
Oh, yeah? Well.
And you're just there.
Gotta stay in touch.
Doesn't sound too bad. Actually sounds like a vacation, doesn't it? Which is what everybody's just really wanting.
That's what we're all looking for.
But you don't get that. You get the other jail. The bad one.
Here, we need you to break these rocks. The big ones, make them smaller. Okay. That sounds like fun.
Don't I get to keep my phone?
It's fitness.
If you missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the worst of the Riot Podcast.
This is fascinating. Rian Johnson, a controversial director because a lot of people didn't like Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh, is he the one who did
He's
that?
He's that guy.
Oh.
You know what, though? He's a great director. Like, he makes good stuff. Brick was crazy. That was his, I don't know if it was his first movie, but it was the first one I saw, and it was just like, this movie's nuts. Then, of course, he just did Knives Out, which has been wildly successful.
People love it.
And I think it's out on like Blu-ray or DVD or something.
No, it's completely out, yeah.
It's out? Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So there's that. But in one of the interviews that he did, he just said something that up until now I haven't heard from anyone. And that is this, that Apple will let you use iPhones in your movie.
Oh,
so
really?
Like, yeah. Mm-hmm. With one exception.
Do you have to pay or?
Nope.
They have to have control over the scene?
Kinda.
Like creative rights or?
The villains can't use iPhones.
I love it.
So he said that actually makes it, his last movie is a whodunit.
Yeah.
So he said you can actually, he said, now that you know that, as you
don't
watch.
spoil the movie.
He actually says as you watch movies, you'll be able to track. Like if somebody pulls out an iPhone, they're a quote unquote good guy.
They're a good guy. Wow, that's fascinating. Now, I bet you there's some like smaller movies that don't follow the rules. So maybe that doesn't work with every movie, but that's interesting.
I mean, I would think that would potentially be enough for you to just be like, okay, we'll use generic Android phones just like every other.
Does Android have the same rules or they don't care?
Well, that's one of those things that with Android, it's open. It's an open source software. So, I mean, you could eventually find a manufacturer.
So many there's so many versions of it.
So, I mean, like, whatever.
Well, that's cool of him to share that. That's an insight into the industry that we did not know, and that's fascinating.
Okay, and he says every single filmmaker who has a bad guy in their movie that's supposed to be a secret wants to murder me right now.
So if you're watching a whodunit sort of thing and you're like, oh, who is the evil guy? Then if they have an iPhone, they're not it. If they don't have an iPhone, they're probably it.
The other thing that's interesting is he's apparently this is a newer policy because famously, and again, I'm quoting Vanity Fair here. I didn't actually
You don't often say that.
But in 2013's House of Cards, Frank Underwood, and this is on Netflix, played by Kevin Spacey, he uses iPhones.
But that was older.
So that's older. They say that now. It's kind of like with the Fast and Furious actors, part of their contracts passed, I think it was the fifth movie. It's the fifth or the sixth one. They're not allowed to lose a fight on screen anymore. So, like, they can't, like, I think it's in the fifth one. It's 5 or 6 where a couple of the guys take a real beating on something. And that's the last time in any of those movies that you will see one of the heroes of the film lose a fight.
Because they've been in it so long they don't want it anymore?
Well, you can't
do that anymore.
I don't lose a fight. My character never loses fights.
Can you imagine all the rules that must go on with a contract for a movie? All the people you have to deal with.
I think it's
kind of companies.
To me, it's a little dumb because it's like, dude, don't you want, like, people need to be able to lose fights. Like, it needs to feel like there's some risk involved.
There's a lot of egos involved, especially in that franchise.
Yeah, really?
So, yeah, I know. It's shocking, isn't it?
Vin Diesel strikes me as a fragile guy.
Oh, sure.
Strikes me as a fragile
I don't think he wants to be seen as someone who would lose a fight anymore.
Yeah, well.
So I can see him and all the others putting that in there, too.
Sure. Well, there you have it, Nikki. Be on the lookout. If you see somebody using an iPhone in a movie, they're a good guy. At least going forward. You know, go back far enough, we don't know.
We don't know in, like, real life, but, like, good guy in the movie.
Yeah.
Are people really still listening to The Riot? You don't have work to do or laundry to fold or literally anything else to do? The Riot, Radio U.
I want to get a couple of things out of the way first. Number one, Jif is the best peanut butter in the world.
Okay.
And somebody was like, no, shh. You're wrong. Right? It's not Skippy. It's not that Reese brand. It's definitely not whatever the government handout is. Like, whatever. Like, the best peanut butter is Jif.
That's the one you like?
End of story. No, that's not what I said.
But don't you like the one where you go to the machine and you just put in the peanuts and it's freshly roasted and it comes on out?
Nope.
Not even that?
No. Jif, Nikki.
Okay. And
my love for Jif is only growing right now because Jif has, in fact, partnered up with the people over at Giphy, GIF or GIPHY. And, you know, they specialize in memes, really, or like animated GIFs. And there is a controversy that has raged across the years about whether GIF, GIF, is pronounced GIF or JIF. And obviously, Jif is peanut butter.
GIF is the memes.
Not. Yeah. And
the little things.
GIF is actually an acronym. It stands for graphics, I believe it's interchange format. So hard G, graphic GIF.
But I think people made it like a J back in the day.
Some people did, and those people are sick and wrong. And they always have been. I just want you to know, like, when I meet somebody, and if I all of a sudden hear you pronounce GIF as GIF, I'm like, we can't be friends.
Yeah, but I don't think most people don't do that anymore.
But they're out there.
But they are.
And I love the fact that Jif Peanut Butter has teamed
partnered
up with
Giphy.
Giphy. And you now have a jar of peanut butter that is Jif, and then they have created a jar of GIF. And it says Jif, creamy peanut butter, GIF, animated looping images.
That's it.
Hard G pronunciation.
There it is. It's cute.
The truth of the matter is, we could have used this a while ago.
It's been a few years. I feel like they're a little late on that, but it's been a hot minute.
Sometimes, Nikki, it takes brands a little while to catch up. But here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, Jif is the best. And I want to make sure that when somebody gets out there, especially a brand, because brands can be so fickle, they can be whatever, but for them to get out there and proclaim the truth like this.
Yeah.
Truth in love. Mm-hmm. I just appreciate what they're doing.
So does Jif make an almond butter, since that's what you eat?
They do, but here's the thing.
Do you not like that?
No, it's delicious.
Oh, is it too good?
It costs a fortune.
It does?
Oh, yeah. Like, think a little jar like this for like $13.
Really?
Yeah,
Aww.
because unlike, I don't know what they do. They like hydrogenate it or whatever, so it spreads really easy, which it does. And it's so good.
So it's a problem.
Yeah, you can't have it.
Yeah, I see a tiny jar.
Yeah,
wow, 12 ounces.
So something Nikki and I can tell you is that if you eat almond butter, you just go ahead and you turn it upside down.
Stephanie was so cute. She texted this morning. We said this many times, but if you like nut butters, almond butter always has like this oil layer.
Yeah.
But you stir it up first when you get it, and then always keep it flipped upside down, and you won't have that anymore.
She texted and says, "Been storing the almond butter upside down." Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're
this
welcome,
is
Stephanie.
really our legacy for the show, is that we've been helping you guys with things like this.
Yeah. I mean,
is that all we have?
Nikki and I imagine at the end, when everybody lines up, the two people that are still alive, Stephanie will be there like, the riot changed my life. I store my almond butter upside down still. And I've taught my children this and my grandchildren.
And it came from us.
You guys really did something.
Man, I haven't seen this. Jif has a chocolate cheesecake hazelnut spread. It seems like everything in one.
I haven't had that. I had a chocolate peanut butter spread they did that was like a limited edition.
They have a cinnamon, a maple, a cookies and cream.
Where do you get those?
I'm just looking at Amazon.
I got to stop going to Costco only because like I go to Costco and buy Jif and you buy, it's like you get 2 300-pound jars.
Yeah, they'll last you a while.
For $10.
And they don't do any of the fun stuff. It's only the staples because they're in such big amounts.
You got to get bulk, Nikki. Maybe we need some of that for tonight. We got a show. We'll talk about it.
Worst of the Riot Podcast.
So this is the year we elect a president again. So every 4 years.
That's nothing new.
Yeah. Then, the Democratic debate's going on right now. So the Democratic Party can select a candidate that they want to run against the incumbent president. Then, of course, there are other parties that will be selecting their president. Here's something that I was thinking about as I was reading through some of the stuff last night and some this morning. Yeah, is that, okay, there's no, in a lot of ways, we've pretty much abandoned, and maybe there never was, but online has just seemed to make it worse. There's no actual like rational discussion of political ideas or whatever. And here's the other thing that I feel like is ridiculous. That a lot of us don't get. I think in general, we all want the same things. Like, I don't think anybody thinks that, only certain people deserve health care, for example. I think that the average American, now there's always going to be outliers, whatever, but I would think like you get to the mid part of us, whatever, we're all like, yeah, we think we want everybody that needs to see a doctor to see a doctor. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like most of us probably, what we disagree on is how we get there.
Sure.
And that's what I feel like continues to be this sticking point that we don't understand. We just immediately go to, you hate people. And it's like, well, no, I don't hate people. I just think the best way to do it is this way. So we never attack the way, like, no, that's not the best way. We just immediately impugn their character. So it's like, oh, well, you want to do it a different way than me? You obviously hate people. And that's how people get elected. That's how people get votes. But I feel like it's also how we end up hating each other for no good reason, by the way. Like, the person that, again, I disagree with, say, and again, I've picked healthcare because it's just an issue. You can almost slide any issue in here. And that is like, hey, I disagree with you on how we get healthcare. If you and I sit down and talk and walk away disagreeing on the how, that's one thing. But if it turns into you obviously hate, I don't know, pick a kind of person, and like you hate them because you don't want them to have it. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. What? But that's what's happening. And I mean, you are going to see more and more. I get so frustrated with political stuff because what they know is this. They know that you're not going to ask any questions. They know that you're not really going to look into the facts. What they want you to do is grab the soundbite and just do whatever the soundbite tells you to do. So that's why politics is the way it is. We would all be so much better served if we would take 5 minutes and either A, think about it, or B, read about it. Like, just like that much, just like a little bit. I feel like they kind of don't want you to. I feel like an American population that began truly discussing issues, and instead of getting so angry with each other, they could actually talk about it. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would be a different place, and some of the people that are in power would have a hard time hanging on to it.
Sure.
Because we would start looking at them and going, now, wait a minute.
I think they like you said, I think they like the anger more than you realize.
It's way easier to motivate large groups of people so that you can get what you want by just getting them angry at, quote unquote, the problem.
Well, if you watched any of the debate stuff last night, you'll see the big theme throughout all of it seemed to be anger. So that's how it is.
Like, the way we're handling it, we're just making it worse. And there are people that are profiting off of our division and anger.
Well, it's weird.
And
traditionally,
it's not us.
In the past, it seemed like, left and right, there was always the anger against each other. But now there's so much anger between all the little parties in the left or all the little parties in the right. And everybody's just mad.
And keep in mind that the ideas of left and right are constructs to control you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maybe I just took it one step too far.
That's all right.
I'm just telling you.
I get what you're saying.
A two-party system is a way for people to get what they want out of
But
you.
if you want to, have some fun today, just check all the memes about last night.
Gosh.
They are just fantastic.
They are really funny.
That's why that's the only thing we like about politics.
I do love memes.
It's just the next day seeing all that.
You're listening to a morning show hosted by two people who absolutely despise getting up in the morning.
Will you give me a break one time?
The Riot, RadioU.
What happened with you in the Bee game yesterday? Bee Simulator?
I went to go. So Bee Simulator is a game that was supposed to be out for like years ago.
It was supposed to be out last October or November when we did our Riot live event.
That wasn't the first time it got pushed back.
Is that right?
Yeah, it had been pushed back several times before. And it's a game where it is exactly what it sounds like. You are a bee in the game, and it's what life is like for a bee. You go around and you sting people, or you do this, you ruin picnics. It shows better when you're actually looking at it.
It's more fun than it sounds like we think.
It sounds stupid.
It looks cool.
And so you told me that a place was having a sale for it.
Yes.
So I decided to go yesterday. I thought, I'll get it for the anniversary thing tonight. Or I'll do it like for the show tomorrow, or bring it in on Friday. But they didn't have it. So I went to go there, and they weren't very helpful. Like, no one was in the place.
Yeah.
And you thought I was ruining everything.
Nikki, let's just say what it is. Nikki went to GameStop.
I was so surprised. I'm like, no one's there at all.
I will tell you, the scuttlebutt among the gaming community has definitely been that the GameStop organization is failing.
Its way out, yeah.
And that employee morale is low.
Well, don't you think if someone comes in, then that brings up the employee morale?
No, because I mean, if you think like things aren't going well,
you just don't want to help.
Yeah. The other thing is like us assuming that the national level employees and the local employees, it could just be that the GameStop you visited, they're like, oh,
had
crap.
a bad attitude.
Because let's face it, customers equal work. if the customers don't come in, then you can just whatever.
Well, I was just asking because I didn't see it on the shelves. A little embarrassed to ask for the bee game.
Yeah.
A little embarrassed.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm a grown adult, and I'm here for Bee Simulator.
For my Switch.
You guys have that?
Yay! They did not. And even though it was on sale, I went and bought it, and the person was just like, yeah, you can go over there. I was like, oh, okay. And that's not near me at all. So I was like, oh, I'll just order it online. And the look that they gave me, but I didn't mean it like, I could have just meant I was going to order it on GameStop's site.
Obviously, when I said order it online, I'm at GameStop.com, not Amazon.
But I didn't. I went to Amazon and I bought opened, like it doesn't have the shrink wrap around it. So it's only $18. So I bought that. So it comes tomorrow.
So you did get it.
I did, yeah. I want to play it.
You have to bring it in.
I am going to.
We have to see it.
That's why I'm all ready.
Let's get a look at it.
Did you see? Now, that's just a happy coincidence.
I don't think it is. Nikki has painted her nails yellow.
I have yellow nails.
It's like a
and
honey
I'm wearing
yellow.
all black. So it just look like a bee today. I am getting ready to see what it's like to be a bee.
I'm starting my bee simulation now.
I want to be involved and be invested, and you dive in deep.
It's fantastic.
So I'll bring it in sometime later this week, and we'll play it.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, where are you at on the McDonald's Shamrock Shake?
Is it back? Well, I thought we were talking about nails. Are we not talking
Oh,
about
my
nails
gosh.
anymore? Were you going to
guys
forget
don't-
about it?
Yeah, you guys don't understand. Like, my attention span is about 3 seconds long.
It's not as long as it normally is here.
Okay, all right, here we go. Let's talk about nails.
Yes.
Here's what I want to know is I want to know, I bite my nails. I don't care about them. I'm just like, the only thing they're good for is growing out and getting that sick satisfaction of ripping off a good nail.
You love
And
a
then-
good nail bite?
Yeah, and then, listen, as a nail biter, you guys, we have to throw our nails away, okay? Don't flick them on the floor. Don't put them on whatever.
Don't save them. Don't be gross.
Put them in a trash can, okay? Because, people don't want to see your disgusting nails, all right? So make sure you throw them away. Now, that being said, we were at lunch last week with Sydney, and we were all together, and Sydney was eating, and she was taking a bite of a burger or something, and I noticed the burger, and then I noticed the nails. Mm-hmm. And she has...
Nail art designs.
Yeah, I don't remember what the first two fingers have, but like the ring finger and the pinky finger, she's got a white nail with like black lines on it.
Yeah.
And
think of it like racing stripes.
Yes, but that's not how I thought of it. I looked at them and then I immediately thought about something and I thought, no, you can't say that out loud. And then I thought, you know what? What about all the other people at the table that are thinking it, but nobody's willing to say it?
No one else was.
Shh, shh, shh. So I spoke up and I was like, Sydney, I want you to know that your fingernails make me think of zebra cakes from Little Debbie's.
Because of the white with the stripe.
Because of the white with the stripe on it. Because that's what a zebra cake is.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I would like to know, as somebody that gets nail art done, would you be like, one, like excited that somebody noticed, or two, frustrated that in my mind, I feel like your nails are Little Debbie tributes instead of whatever else it was that you were thinking when you made it?
Probably depends on what their inspiration was.
Okay.
And it might be a little sad if they had a more artistic inspiration and yours, you brought it down to a snack cake. Because it did. Once you said it, you can't get it out of your mind.
Once you saw it, you were like, do you mind if I bite your nails?
Because I wonder if it tastes like Little Debbie's.
I don't want to be weird about it, but I love biting my nails, and they just taste like nothing. But I feel like your nails would have that yellow cake with white cream sensation. Is that true?
Well, some people with their nails take nail art to like a whole different level. So it does mean
sure they
something.
are.
Yeah, and it's not a zebra cake.
But what if it was?
But it's not.
What would you have done if Sydney was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Thank you for noticing.
That is exactly what I wanted, because zebra cakes are my favorite Little Debbie, and I just decided to go with it. I went in, I told the nail tech, hey, think zebra cakes. In fact, we both ate one when it was over.
Now, you remember Pinterest? You just go on there and you look for your inspiration with Little Debbie nail art.
Yeah, so you put you get a Swiss cake roll. You put a little, it's like a brown or black nail with a white circle.
Actually, I bet there's a form.
A spiral.
There's some sort of probably Reddit thing with Little Debbie nail art tributes.
I'm sure. So you know what? I'm just asking if you have nails. I'd love to know. Are you insulted by the comparison or just glad that somebody noticed your nail art? 8772 Radio U.
And third, who wants a zebra cake? Hands raised.
Hands up for that.
Who will take any sort of Little Debbie sandwich, or a little snack cake thing?
I want a zebra cake. I love those things.
That's what I took out of the last couple of minutes. That's all I can still think about.
Okay, let's see. Consuelo says, I love when people notice my nails, and I would start laughing and forever see zebra cakes on my nails. I wouldn't be angry. I think it would be hilarious. Okay, I like that answer.
It's good.
That's a good one. And I really do want a zebra cake, right? They're so good. They're so good.
We have 2 boxes of the Hostess cakes over there. You had a Hostess cake this morning.
Just a bite.
Just a bite?
Yeah.
This was the worst of the riots, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The Riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
Here, Hudson, bury your face in this.